Hey everyone, I'm asking that you please just give me 5 minutes. I promise if you listen to this story, it is going to either help you or somebody you know that you can send it to. Please give me the time of day and just listen to this story. With tomorrow being Easter, I am just feeling a calling to get out my testimony. I hope that it at least helps one person. In fact, I know it will if you guys just give it the time of day. And if you're not a Christian, please still listen, because I promise you, I've been where you are. Please listen to my story. What I specifically want to talk about is the power of forgiveness. And guys, to be honest, I was not a strong Christian believer early in my childhood through my early adulthood, so I've been where you are if you're not a Christian. Still, listen to this because it will help everyone, even if you're not religious. So growing up, I had a very, very difficult childhood. My parents divorced when I was in 5th grade, and a big part of it was because my dad was super into drugs and alcohol. In fact, he still is, and he's living on the streets to this day. But this story is going to be centered around my mom. See, after her filing for divorce against my dad when I was again in 5th grade, I already had a lot of hatred and resentment to her for ending my parents' marriage and forcing me to not live with my father. Because as a kid, I didn't really know what was going on. Now things quickly got worse because my mom soon really got into drugs and alcohol as well, and we went from living in a house to living into an apartment to living in a even worse apartment, and it got to the point where my mom stopped showing up, stopped coming home for days at a time, leaving my sister and I alone. Again, at this point I'm like in 6th or 7th grade, my sister being 4 years younger. She started being on food stamps because she wasn't making really any money. She was selling our food stamps for drugs and alcohol and whatever else she might have been doing while she was gone for days at a time. This forced my sister and I to be home alone. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have money, of course, because I was a kid. So I would sell the things that I had from earlier in my childhood to try to scrounge up some money to take my sister and I so we could eat to the Dairy Queen that was across the street. And things just got worse and worse over time. I remember specifically I walked in on my mom doing drugs at one point. She would always lose it on me. She'd go crazy. And I just wanted to get out of there. I was already having a lot of hatred for her divorcing my dad, and now going through all this, I just wanted nothing to do with her anymore. And so I moved out as quickly as I could. At 15 years old, I was able to move out, and I was able to go live with my grandparents. And guys, I held this hatred for a very long time. In fact, I held it till 2018. And in 2018, I was 26 years old. I moved away from her at 15, and this all started when I was probably 10 or 11. So we're talking a very, very long time of built-up hatred that I had in my heart. At this point in my young adulthood life, my mom had kind of gotten out of stuff, and she was trying to get forgiveness from me, and I just didn't want anything to do with her. I maybe saw her on an occasional Christmas, but that was about it. Now in early 2018, I started dating a new girl who is now my wife, but this is where my story changes. And the story really has nothing to do with my now wife, but in December of 2018 specifically, so we'd been dating now 6-7 months. I'm driving back to my apartment with my then girlfriend, and something just comes over me all of a sudden in my mind where I decided to tell my girlfriend who was in the car with me that I wanted to forgive my mom. It just naturally all of a sudden came to me while driving home one day. It was completely random. I told her I wanted to introduce her to my mom and that I wanted to take the time to forgive her. Not even 5 minutes later, after telling my girlfriend that, I get a call from my sister that my mom had just passed away. Guys, you can't tell me that is a coincidence. Jesus is the almighty forgiver. And he put just randomly on my heart to tell myself and to tell my girlfriend at the time that I wanted to forgive my mom, just randomly, right before she passed. If that wouldn't have happened and I found out she was passed away first, the forgiveness wouldn't have felt real. It would have felt fake. It would have felt like I was doing it because I knew she was gone now. and it wouldn't have been really my choice, if that makes sense. It would have been, oh man, it would have been regret. It would have been, I wish I would have done this before she passed. And no, my mom didn't get to hear me tell her that I forgive her. But it helped me tremendously. Now, a parent myself, and just realizing what it is being a parent and all the struggles parents go through, and just being more mature in my age, I could tell you that if I would have never chosen to forgive her before knowing she passed away, how much that would have ate up at me for the rest of my life. Now, of course, the story would have been so much better had my mom got to hear that I forgave her as well. But guys, don't discount what forgiveness does to your own personal self as well. Huge weight off my shoulders. So guys, if you are holding on to hatred or resentment towards anyone, I urge you to share this. If it's somebody you know doing this, or if it's yourself, forgive. It's the hardest thing to do, but it is the most rewarding, I promise you. My forgiveness of my mom led me to be a Christian. It led me to know who Jesus is. And that might not be the case for you. But even if that's not the case for you, I promise you it will help you in here. And it's something, again, that will be very, very difficult, but I promise it will be rewarding to your own personal health. So yes, tomorrow is Easter. Jesus is risen, Praise Jesus. And I hope that this video helps one of you. Thank you.